Sonya and Sasha, for real.
Thank you so much for listening to BRIMBANK Live. I love it. Sonya and Sasha for real show. It's our second last show for the year. It's a very, very packed in show, as you would say today, Sash. It's a packed in show. Now, this guest is amazing. You know what? We say that about all our guests, but they are. And we didn't even have to stalk this guest. It's amazing.
They came to us. People want to be on our show. Yeah, look,
this is what I love. Yesterday, when I spoke to Angela, she said, I might have a bit of a noise issue in the background, and F-18 Hornet might take off. Is that okay? And I said, that's the coolest reason that we've ever had for having background noise. So bring it on, baby, is what I said.
Now, you're going to think, what is a Hornet got to do with the book that we're talking about?
I know.
But we're all going to bring it all together. Now, can I just please introduce Angela Clucas? Now, she has written a book here that I have right here, and it's called Standing Tall from the Inside. Now, she's got an incredible story because Angela was actually born with something called Russell-Silver syndrome. Now, I don't know that too much about that, and it's actually a condition that affects your normal growth. And due to this, she's been much smaller, and that means that she's had a lot of physical differences, and that's mean that she's been bullied. So then she's written this incredible book that I was sent and got it and said, picked it up, looked through this book and said, Sonya, we need to get this guest in. Can we please give a massive round of applause and welcome to Angela Clucas. Woo!
Hi, girls. How are you going?
Oh, thank you so much. Firstly, thank you so much for sending us the book and writing your story and putting it all out there. Angela, tell us about the book.
Well, it came about with when Dolly Everett and Catherine took her own life at the age of 14 a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And she was the face of the Yakuba hat. And her final message was, speak even if your voice shakes. And I sent my Facebook page on and got that news a couple of years ago. Next month it will be. And decided enough's enough. It's time for me to stand up and see if I can help some of these youth from taking their own lives and giving them some tools and skills to show them that there's life after being bullied, and that's what started it.
Now, this is something that you've experienced a lifetime of, and you have, you're incredibly resilient, and then to be able to be resilient enough to write a book. Take us back to when you were younger and some of the bullying that you've experienced that's really made you the woman that you are today.
It really started when I started school. Up until then, like, I had my parents sort of in the background. They didn't wrap me up in cotton wool or anything, but they were all, like, Mum was always there in the background to step in when required. But once you go to school, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. And the other students had never had to deal with somebody like me before, and so they were pointing fingers and laughing, and then they thought it would be fun to use me as a live doll, and they put me in pushchairs and pushed me around, and that was my introduction to the outside world. And one day I got stuck in the school toilet because I wasn't strong enough and tall enough to pull the door to get out, and I missed the bus, and from then on it was like whenever I went to a school, I had to be walked around the school and made sure I could open all the doors and for my own safety. But it was embarrassing, but it was something that I had to do. And I had to learn that, and while I was locked in those toilets, I learned that it was up to me to deal with the issues that I was facing, because if I didn't learn to deal with it from the inside, then the people that are creating issues for me win. And I had 2 choices. I could curl up and sit in a corner, or I could make something of my life, and I decided that my character was good as anybody else's, and I deserved to have a normal life.
I just listening to you speak, just saying that, there is so much strength behind you, so much strength. And I know nobody can see the body language between us, but if you could possibly see, there's just Sonia, myself, and Ralph, our amazing producer, but all of us have just stopped to soak up that strength that you've got and what it actually takes. And normally we're like, you know, Red Bull on energy, you know, and had an injection, but we've all just kind of sat there and thought, this is an incredible story on what you've done. And now to even be able to write this down as a book, what was it like to put this down on paper and write it for you?
Oh, it was pretty tough, because a lot of the stuff that I put in the book, I kind of put behind me and buried it in a deep dark hole, and because of a mindset that I had to deal with, that I've built up over the years to deal with this stuff, I'm always looking forward, you know, like I never look in the mirror, because I don't need to see what I look like. I can't change what I look like, so there's no point worrying about it, you know. Like, we're all born, and when we're born we're given a name, and that becomes our identity. So my philosophy is that it's our purpose in life to become the best character for the identity that our parents give us when we're born.
Now, I also need to ask you, Russell Silver syndrome, I've not really heard of that much. Can you please just tell us a little bit about what that is and what that means?
Okay, it's a form of dwarfism. It's a genetic condition, but it can jump generations. So it started for me when I was still in the womb. I wasn't getting the food required. There was some kind of blockage there. And then when I was born, in my early years, food wasn't something that interested me. And that's part of the condition. Food is a pain in the butt, really. It's it's just something you have to eat, you have to do to live. And had no interest of me. So like my mum spent nearly a whole day getting enough food into me just to keep me alive in the early days.
Wow.
But you're born and your little fingers aren't straight. The left side of your body is a lot weaker than the right. I have my left leg is an inch and a half shorter than my right. My left arm doesn't turn fully, so like I can't. I work in the museum. I can't collect money from the left hand because it will just fall out because I can't turn my hand enough.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on the left side is weaker. It's almost like you've got two bodies in one, two different strengths in one. And I had a heart murmur, asthma. You know, I had it.
Oh, and your attitude, Angela, is just so positive still with all of those obstacles that you've overcome. And then you want to go and help other people in the world who've experienced, you know, bullying. You are incredible. As Sasha said, the strength in you is incredible. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. How can we get the book?
You can get it either on Amazon or on my website, the 3W, standingtallfromtheinside.com.
standingtallfromtheinside.com. All right, everybody needs to read this book. You are an incredible woman, Angela. Thank you so much for being on the Sonia and Sasha For Real show today and sharing with us all of your strength and your inspiration. We love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonia and Sasha For Real show. We'll be back after this.
Sonya and Sasha, for real.